flight, imagine you're 35,000 feet in the air, trapped inside a plane hurtling through the sky, when a mysterious infection breaks out among the passengers. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and the virus is spreading fast. Every second counts as passengers fight to survive against not just the infected but the ticking clock before the plane lands. If it ever does, face screaming in fear. Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone. In today's thrilling adventure, The Last Flight, you'll experience heart-pounding moments of terror, desperate alliances, and unexpected twists as passengers battle the ultimate airborne horror. Woman zombie. Door, will anyone make it out alive? Buckle up and get ready for the zombie apocalypse at 30,000 feet. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share this terrifying journey. Movie Camera Eyes Airplane.
High above the Atlantic, Flight 392 cruises smoothly towards New York from London. The passengers are a diverse bunch. Some are seasoned travelers, others are families on vacation. Unbeknownst to them, they share the aircraft with a deadly secret locked in the cargo hold, a hidden biological experiment that is about to unleash havoc. Among the passengers is Sarah Blake, a flight attendant with years of experience under her belt, and Alex Winters, a former soldier now working as a private security consultant. There's also Dr. Emily Carter, a virologist returning from a classified conference on viral outbreaks, though she never imagined she would soon be caught in one herself. In the belly of the plane, something stirs. A crate marked with highly classified hazmat warnings has been breached. Inside, a once human test subject, a prisoner of a covert government experiment, now carries a virus unlike any the world has ever seen. It is fast, it is aggressive, and it is airborne. Sarah, moving through the aisles, notices something odd about one passenger in row 21B. The man, Marcus Daniels, looks unnaturally pale, his forehead glistening with sweat. At first, she assumes it's motion sickness or the flu, but something about his labored breathing makes her pause. She leans over and whispers, "Sir, are you all right? Can I get you some water?" But before she can finish, Marcus convulses violently, knocking over the tray table. His body seizes as his eyes roll back. Gasps ripple through the nearby passengers, and within seconds, Marcus's body jerks unnaturally. His veins bulge grotesquely as he rises, bloodshot eyes darting towards the passenger in 21C. Before anyone can react, Marcus lunges and bites down on the person's arm. The cabin erupts into chaos. Screams fill the air as people scramble to escape their seats. Sarah's heart races as she backs away, horrified by what she's seeing. The bitten passenger, an elderly woman on her way to visit family, lets out a blood-curdling scream as her flesh is torn apart. Blood sprays across the seatbacks, and panic spreads faster than the infection itself. At the same time, Dr. Emily Carter notices something familiar in Marcus's transformation. The bite. The aggression. She's seen this before, reports from a highly classified government study on viral infections. Realization dawns on her, this is no ordinary illness. Running towards the cockpit, Sarah grabs the radio. "Captain Stevens, we have an emergency, people are attacking each other." Captain Mark Stevens, a veteran pilot with over 2 decades of experience, scans the cabin camera feeds. His face turns pale as he watches passengers fleeing in terror from Marcus, who has become a grotesque, ravenous creature. "Lock down the cabin, now," he shouts to his co-pilot, David Mason. But it's too late. The infection is spreading. More passengers, bitten and scratched, begin to transform, eyes turning bloodshot, their bodies convulsing as the virus overtakes them. As the infected multiply, the scene in the cabin descends into full-blown pandemonium. Passengers push and shove, trampling each other in a desperate attempt to flee. A group of survivors, including Sarah, Alex, and Dr. Carter, manages to retreat to the back of the plane, where they barricade themselves in the galley with anything they can find, meal carts, luggage, even pieces of broken seats. Alex takes charge, his military training kicking in. "We need to get to the cockpit and take control before this plane goes down," he says, voice steady despite the chaos. Sarah, pale but determined, nods. Meanwhile, in the cargo hold, the source of the infection is wreaking havoc. The infected test subject, the original carrier of the virus, has escaped its crate. A group of infected ground crew workers, exposed while loading the plane, now joins the swarm. They're breaking through the lower compartments, heading for the cabin. The group's barricade won't hold for long. One by one, the infected slam their bodies into the makeshift defense, their snarling and growling echoing through the cabin. One survivor, a young man named Jason, panics and makes a break for it, sprinting down the aisle towards the front of the plane. Jason, no. Sarah screams, but it's too late. He is caught by one of the infected, a woman who, just an hour earlier, was sipping wine and chatting with her husband. Now, her teeth sink into Jason's neck, and he collapses, writhing in agony as the infection overtakes him. As they watch in horror, Dr. Carter explains grimly, it's a virus. A weaponized virus. The moment someone is bitten, the infection spreads through their bloodstream. It's almost immediate. Alex, gripping a fire extinguisher like a weapon, turns to Sarah. If we're going to survive, we need to reach the cockpit. Now. Using the galley's limited supplies, the survivors arm themselves. Alex grabs a metal serving tray to use as a shield, while Sarah and Dr. Carter find knives from the meal prep station. The plan is simple but dangerous. Push through the infected, reach the cockpit, and get the plane on the ground before it's too late. They venture into the aisles, where bodies of the infected and the dead litter the floor. The air is thick with the smell of blood and sweat. The infected are fast, moving with unnatural speed and ferocity. Each bite or scratch spreads the virus, and there's no cure. Alex leads the charge, swinging his makeshift weapon with precision, knocking back the infected as they charge. Behind him, Sarah uses a fire extinguisher to fend off any that get too close. Every step is a battle. The aisles become a narrow, claustrophobic battlefield where there is nowhere to run. Finally, they reach the cockpit, but the door is locked. Inside, Captain Stevens and David Mason listen to the frantic banging on the door. We can't let them in, Mason argues. We don't know if they're infected. But if we don't, we're all dead, Stevens replies, weighing the options. His hands tremble on the controls. The plane has already begun to lose altitude as systems fail due to damage from the earlier commotion. Time is running out. Just as Stevens is about to open the door, an infected steward charges at the survivors from behind. Sarah turns just in time, stabbing the infected in the chest with a knife. But it keeps coming, its mouth snapping dangerously close to her face. Alex yanks it back, bashing its head in with his makeshift shield. The door swings open, and they tumble inside just as more infected slam against the outside. We have to land this thing now, Alex growls, slamming the door shut behind them. Captain Stevens, now with Sarah and Alex's help, wrestles with the controls as alarms blare, signaling critical failures in the plane's systems. The ground looms closer with each passing second, but the infected are relentless, pounding against the cockpit door. They know that if the door falls, it's over. Dr. Carter grabs the intercom. Everyone needs to brace for impact. We're going down. With one final lurch, the plane plummets, slamming into the earth with a deafening crash. The impact knocks everyone off their feet, and the force rips the plane apart, scattering debris across the desolate landscape. The survivors, bloodied but alive, manage to crawl out of the wreckage. Flames lick at the edges of the torn fuselage as the remaining infected stir inside. It's not over. We have to move, Alex says, pulling Sarah to her feet. The infected begin to spill out of the wreckage, snarling and snapping, their numbers growing as more crawl from the debris. In the distance, a faint light glows, a sign of life, maybe safety. But between them and that beacon stands an army of the undead. As the survivors look out over the horizon, Sarah turns to Alex. Do you think we'll make it? Alex looks at the approaching infected, his face hardened by experience. We're about to find out. The Last Flight is a pulse-pounding, high-stakes zombie adventure that tests the limits of survival. Trapped 35,000 feet in the air with no escape, the passengers of Flight 392 must fight not only for their lives but for the fate of everyone on board. As the infection spreads, alliances are forged, sacrifices are made, and the true horror of being trapped mid-air with nowhere to run is revealed.